What is up, everyone? Welcome back. It's video 5. It's the Kill Australia here, and today I'm going to take you through another video on creating a panel from my comic book Talos of Sparta. So, a little backstory on the book itself is that I am doing the pencils and inks on the book, and it's being co-created with my good friend Sean, who is from Comics to Movies, who some of you may or may not know. He approached me a couple of years ago with an idea for a script, and as soon as he started explaining it to me, I said, "Look, mate, I'm in. The concept is great." So thanks to Sean for reaching out to me firstly and believing in me enough to give me the opportunity to create the pencils and inks and bring his vision to life. So what I'm going to take you through here is actually a panel that I didn't think I had recorded initially. I remember in the last week's video, I had mentioned that the panel I ended up using, I didn't screen record the creation of it. Turns out I made a mistake and I actually did do that. So I thought today I would play through that and give you a rundown on my thought process on what I'm trying to achieve and all that sort of stuff. So what you're about to see is recorded at 4 times speed. Is being played back at 4 times speed. So it's 4 times faster than the speed in which I drew it, just because otherwise it'd take half an hour to talk you through it all. And apparently no one really watches past the 3-minute point anyway. So hopefully there'll be enough on the screen to keep you guys interested today. Fingers crossed. So it'll start off with you'll see, I'll start the video while I'm talking to you guys. I'll hit the play button now. So you'll see what's actually happening on the screen here is I've already done the underdrawing, the drawing that's underneath. It's the gesture drawing. I've already done that. And so what I'm doing now is I'm going over the top of that original gesture drawing and I'm refining the different bits and pieces of anatomy, the pose, the strength and the dynamism of the pose and the movement that's in the pose. So you can see there what I've done. There's a couple of different hands in the shot there, especially you can see them where I was toying with ideas of how I wanted to maybe have the hand look. Do I want the weapon in the front hand? Did I want it in the hand at the back? And all that type of stuff. So I believe in the end, what I ended up doing for the panel is I ended up flipping the characters around. I took the one that I'm drawing now is Talos. So I ended up taking these two characters and flipping them around. So Talos is actually in the foreground, and I think his name is ATS. I can't remember how to pronounce it, but he's in further in the background. So this is the same poses I ended up using in the actual comic, but in reverse. So the characters are reversed. What I wanted to try to do was I wanted to try and capture two warriors they're just about ready to really hit it and really go at each other. So you can see this forward momentum from both characters and they're sort of coming towards each other, sort of building towards a clash. And what I'm really trying to do is when I'm doing my fleshing this stuff out is I'm looking at how does the anatomy sit? Is there enough movement? Is there enough action? Where are the shadows going to sit? All that type of stuff. And I'm just going through and refining anatomy. I'm looking at, where does the legs sit? How does it look with one character's wearing full dress from the waist down? The other character's is essentially in his underwear, for want of a better way of putting it. He's basically naked. How are they going to look at, sort of coming at each other, attacking each other? And I wanted to capture it slightly from a worm's eye view. So you'll notice that the angle that I've used is sort of looking upwards, as if the camera was lower, sort of at the ground level of where the characters would be. I just think that it creates a little more impact and looks a little more exciting and dynamic rather than just having two characters facing each other directly, on the same plane, directly looking at each other. There's nothing wrong with that. And it would have still worked, especially if I had used a silhouette to do it. But I just think this adds a little more excitement and it really shows the tension. And that's really what I was looking for. So as I said, I'm going through and refining the pose, ready to get it. And you'll see, I think towards the end of the video, I do drop it in to the panel. So you'll see it's a 4-panel page and it's panel 3 of 4. and each one of these panels is equal in the actual page itself. So when I drop it in, you can sort of get a rough idea of how it's going to look. And there is actually a second part to this video, but I'll be showing that to you guys next week, because part 2 shows me the creation of another panel on the same page as well. So you'll notice in this drawing then that there's a lot of foreshortenings, a lot of strange angles that heads are tilted at, and there's sort of back 3/4 views of people's heads and all that sort of stuff. And I've used other elements within the drawing to create movement. It's not just, the body or whatever, the shield or the sword or whatever. You notice the guy that I've got in the foreground here, I'm using his ponytail, his hair, to create the movement. That's moving as well. Like he's sort of moving really quickly towards the camera, and just having those little extra elements in there, creating stretch and squash, and creating movement through other elements that aren't necessarily always the body. So tension in the clothing, you'll see that there's lines that I've drawn in his trousers. You'll notice also that there is the drawstrings that hold his pants up are also moving. They're not just stagnant or not even drawn in at all. They're actually in there, and they've created movement too. So everything's pointing towards Talos in this photo, so in this drawing. So everything you can see that I could possibly conceive that I could create is moving towards the enemy across the other side of the panel. So you can, honestly, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Unfortunately, like I said, I drew them the wrong way around, and I ended up flipping them because the panel beforehand had them. Otherwise, the what's the word I'm looking for? It would have been inconsistent. It would have been one panel, and then the next panel would have been completely flipped. So the continuity, which is the word I'm looking for, the continuity would have been off, which is not an ideal situation at all. So anyway, that's a quick overview of the panel that I'm drawing. I use his cape to also create tension and movement, and you'll notice that that's flowing towards him. So I've used all those arrows, sort of all those things that are sort of pointing towards him, and even used the cape to sort of make a little bit of that happen as well. I just roughed in a little bit of the background because they are in sort of, I suppose, a courtyard situation where they're sparring with each other, and sort of, so that means there's going to be walls and weapons racks and all that type of stuff involved as well. And they don't have to be, doesn't have to be a hugely detailed thing, but they do have to be there so you can understand about where the actual characters are. So it gives you, ties them into an environment, so to speak. That's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. I've made this one a little bit shorter for everyone so that no one's getting bored. Fingers crossed you all watch it through to the end. And like I said, if you could all take the time to like the video, comment if you've got anything to say, and subscribe to the channel, that would also be great. So that's it, guys. Thanks very much for joining me. Much appreciated. You'll see now that I'm just about to drop it into, I was premature with my sign off. I'm just about to drop it into the panel. There you go. So that's essentially what it's going to look like on the page, except flipped. And I'll include a screenshot at the end for you guys so you can see what it ended up looking like. But as I said, thanks again for joining me, guys. Much appreciated. I will talk to you soon. Brad Van Geest, Illustrator, signing off.